Hello everybody, Coach Geer here doing the video you're going to have for tomorrow for percent proportion. Very easy proportion that we use a lot. You really need to be good at it. And as you probably have noticed, I've started off the last few videos we've done with a trick. The last one I know was really just, what is that? What is he doing? I know. It was a little bit lame, I know. So I came up with another one today that hopefully you're going to like. And it's one that you can do at home. All you need is a plate. Okay, it's got a rim on it, ceramic plate, and an egg. And once you crack the egg, you're going to want a piece about, can you see that? About that big, the very bottom of it, and just clean it out. Okay, and here's what you do. You just take a little water, which I have some water here in this cup, and you just around the rim here. And it does take a little bit of practice. What you do is you take the eggshell and you put it on the plate. And once you get it spinning a little bit, again, this does take practice. Once you get it going, which you may need to put a little more water on it. Just get it to start going. There we go. That had stopped. Maybe a little more water. But again, once you get it spinning, there we go. You can make it go around the rim of the plate. Should keep going. If you, again, you just got to work the angle of it. So as long as it's got water to spin on, it does work. So I don't know, just something I thought maybe you know, just for fun, you could show a parent or something like that. Okay, let's get started with your notes. And again, it's percent proportion, which your note should look like this. And we're going to zoom in here so we can get started. And hopefully it's going to focus. There we go. Okay, so when we talk about percent proportion, we're actually going to set up a proportion that helps us solve problems that deal with percents. And the way we do that, and again, here's our basic definition, is that when we do a percent proportion, it's comparing parts of a quantity to the whole quantity using a percent. And here's the way it looks. It looks like a percent over 100 is equal to parts, that means a piece of something, over the whole. That means that whole spelt that way means all of something. Okay? If you look at your notes again, it's this way. And you could have this on either side. You could have it like this. Part over whole equals percent over 100. And what you'll do is to solve any problem dealing with the percents, you'll plug in your values for the part, the whole, or percents. Then you'll cross multiply and divide to solve for the missing piece, the one that you're trying to find. The 100 is always going to be in the same place. The percent's always going to be in the same place. The part and the whole will also always be in the same place. So once you get them set up, you should be able to solve most of these just fine. Okay, so let's look at an example. Example 1. Of the 200 students in a school, 90 volunteered to work the book sale. About what percent of the students volunteered? Well, the 200 is our whole, because that represents the whole population of the school. The 90 is the part of them that actually volunteered. So we're trying to find, it says about what percent, and this isn't an about question, this is a you will find the exact answer question. So about what percent of the student volunteered, and you can see it set up this way. Percent over 100, again the percent is what we're looking for, over 100 is equal to part of the students, which was the 90, over all or whole, the whole body of students, which was 200. Now, to make this problem easier, you can simplify. You could cut off the zeros here. That's always okay. But either way, we want to be good at doing our cross-multiplying and dividing to solve. I am going to do this first because I think that's a pretty easy step, and it does make the problem a little bit easier. So I've got 20 times x, which is 20x, and 100 times 9, which is 900. And then to solve for x, I divide both sides by that number that's in front of the x. That's the 20, which cancels out those two 20s. And once I do the math here, I figured out that my number of the percent, which is what I was looking for, is 45%. So I can write that in. 45% of the students volunteered. And then you want to look back and say, okay, does that make sense? Well, we had 90 out of 200, which if you cut that in half, you cut 90, that's 45 out of 100. 45% does make sense. And also we should know that it's a little less than half, because exactly half of the students would have been 100. So there's how we would do that first problem. Okay, next problem. 30 out of 40 dogs have spots at the pound. What percent of the dogs do not have spots at the pound? Okay, very important. We can do this one of two ways. We can start out by writing this with the number of dogs that don't have spots, or we can figure out the number of dogs that do have spots and then just subtract at the end. So here's what we're going to do. It says that 30 out of 40 dogs have spots. That means that 10 dogs don't have spots. So that's the way I'm going to work this one. So 10 is a part of the 40. The percent is what we're trying to find, so we're going to put an X there, and then our 100 always goes in that same spot. The 100 always goes at the bottom there on the right side, or whatever. It always goes underneath the percent. Okay, because again, whatever answer we get here is going to be our percentage. So we can simplify this. Again, you can always chop off zeros at the end as long as they're not in front of decimal or behind decimals. Okay, so 10 and 40, I can simplify that a little bit and make that 1/4. And technically, you probably should know what 1/4 is, but solving it anyways, we're going to do 4 times x is 4x. 1 times 100 is 100. When I divide both sides by 4, I get an answer of 25, and that's my percent as an answer. So 25% of those dogs do not have spots, which again, if this question had said what percent do have spots, well then the answer would have been 75%, which would have been 3 out of 4. Okay. Next example. Margot said that 65% of the students are wearing black belts. How many are wearing black belts out of 300? So again, our basic formula or our proportion looks like this. If we write this down, then all we got to do is fill in the spots that we know. So we know 65%, so that's going to go right here. We know that the 300 is out of, it says out of 300 students. That's the whole amount. So that number is going to go there. And so the part is what we're going to look for. So the part, what we're trying to find, over the whole, which was 300 students, 65%, and that's over 100. Okay, as you see, it worked out. We're trying to find how many students out of 300, if 65%, which is 65 out of 100, do that. Okay, so now we're going to have to cross multiply. We're going to do 100 times x is 100x. And yeah, sometimes these take a little extra work, but we're going to have to do this. 300 times 65, pretty sure, is 1950. Okay, and solving this really shouldn't be too difficult. If I divide both of these by 100, I'm going to get an answer of 195. Actually, this would be 19,500, sorry. Okay, so 19,500. When I divide both sides by 100, basically that just crosses off these zeros, top and bottom, gives me an answer of 195. Again, we're going to look back just to make sure that that makes sense, because that's something we always want to ask. Does my answer work? I mean, is that a possible answer? So, 300 students. If it was half of them, that'd be about 150, right? So my answer's got to be bigger than 150, and 195 should make sense, okay? All right, now we got a U try. So everybody hit pause on your video and do this really quick, and then come back and we'll check it. Okay, we're back. If 200 out of 500 reptiles in the zoo are on display, what percent of them, of the reptiles, are on display? Well, 200 is a part of the 500 total. The percent, it says what percent, so that's where we're putting the X. Okay, and this is actually a very easy problem. Again, make it easy on yourself. Simplify these first if you can. I can get rid of those two zeros. I can get rid of those two zeros. And then all I'm doing is 5 times x, which is 5x. And 100 times 2, which is 200. Then dividing both sides by 5 gives me an answer of 40. And that should make sense. 2/5. We also should know that's 40% anyways. Okay? Example 5. We just did 4. Example 5. 25% of the dolphins were trained this summer in salt water. That's, hopefully you know that's a fourth. Which equation can be used to find D, the number of trained dolphins, if there are 420 dolphins in salt water? Okay, so the total, our whole, is 420. We're trying to find the number of trained, that's a part. Okay, we know the percent, it told us right there, 25%. And our 100 always goes there. Now, if you look at these 4 answers, none of them look exactly like that. Okay, so we have to maybe go a step further. 100 times x, I'm going to write this down here so you see it. 100x equals 420 times 25. And then my last step, if I got rid of that 100, it would be dividing by 100. And yes, I know they're looking for the letter D. That's okay. So 420 times 25 divided by 100. Okay, so which one of these has divided by 100 in it? Well, does that one? Nope. Does this one? It does, but you're multiplying this on the bottom, and they're only supposed to have the number 100 on the bottom, so that doesn't work. This one doesn't work. Look at that one right there. So the 25% times 420, which is exactly what we did right there, divided by 100, means A is my answer. Okay, so sometimes to solve those, we got to go a little bit further. We got to work them out before we can see where the answer is. And the last example. In the garden, there are 70 yellow rose bushes, 50 white, and 80 red. What percent of the rose bushes are yellow? Well, first I got to find out how many there are, because that's my whole. So 70 plus 50 is 120, plus 80 means I have 200. That's the whole. My part is what we're trying, actually we do know part of it. Part of it is the yellow. Yellow is part of that, so 70. My x goes there because the question says what percent, and the 100 always goes here. And this is a very easy one, because if you know to get from here to here, you divide by 2. 70 divided by 2 is going to be 35. So our answer is going to be 35%. If I did this, I still would get 20x equals 700, and then dividing by 20 would also give me 35%. Okay? And the last one, we'll do this one in class. If you want to tackle it first, go right ahead, or we will do that one in class. Okay? We're all done, percent proportion, and we'll see you later.